The Second World War was the beginning of the age of jet aircraft. Germany is perhaps most famously remembered for their role in the evolution of these planes. Their jet fighters and bombers would take to the skies over Europe and wage a new war on the Allies. But have you ever heard of the P-80 Shooting Star? This aircraft would be America's first operational jet fighter to be deployed into combat. In today's video, we look at the P-80 Shooting Star during World War II. If you enjoy this video and want to see more, hit that subscribe button. It's free and really helps the channel reach more history lovers like you. The German Messerschmitt Me-262 was one of Hitler's famed wonder weapons, and in an age of piston engines, a jet-powered aircraft certainly had the upper hand in most cases. So once the Allies became aware of the Me-262 in 1943, they began working on their own versions. For once, the United States were behind the eight ball. The British were already advanced in their own testing of jet-powered aircraft in the years prior. They agreed to supply the US with their Halford Goblin jet engines. This therefore allowed the Americans to focus solely on building an aircraft, rather than development of their own jet engine, which would come later. In May 1943, Lockheed began working on the development of the P-80. Incredibly, they managed to turn around a prototype aircraft within 140 days. This aircraft had straight wings, unlike the swept wings of the Me-262. Also different to the Messerschmitt's jet engines being mounted on the wings, the P-80 designers chose to position the engine within the fuselage, with the intakes on either side. It had an overall length of 34 feet or 10.5 meters and a wingspan of 38 feet or nearly 12 meters. A single pilot would operate the aircraft. As testing began, the performance of the P-80 and its potential for the United States war effort became clear. It managed to exceed 500 miles or 800 kilometers an hour. Its maneuverability was fairly decent, but the testing was plagued by crashed aircraft and the death of at least 2 test pilots, one of which was the top-scoring ace and Medal of Honor recipient Major Richard Bong, who died in California testing the P-80's capabilities. Following testing, numerous variants were created, and changes to the aircraft design and jet engine would see the first 12 aircraft ready for war. In late 1944, 4 of the Shooting Stars were sent to Europe, with 2 going to England and 2 to Italy. Unfortunately, a British test pilot was also killed in one of the 2 aircraft during a flight in January 1945. For the other 2 in Italy, they actually did see operational combat service. They took part in reconnaissance flights during February and March 1945, but by this time Germany was well and truly on the ropes, and they had limited aircraft available for the skies. So the P-80 wouldn't actually see any combat during the war, due to its very late introduction. However, an order of 2,000 aircraft was still sent through to Lockheed, and by 1950, around 1,700 variants of the Shooting Star had been delivered. Interestingly, in 1946, the P-80 would become the first jet-powered aircraft to cross the United States from coast to coast, in a time a little over 4 hours. The aircraft would see its first actual combat during the Korean War, but with the superior enemy MiG-15s, other United States jet aircraft were preferred by this time. Still, this was a very interesting plane, and the first operational American jet-powered aircraft. What did you think about the P-80 Shooting Star? If introduced to combat earlier in the war, how do you think it would have performed? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to expand your knowledge and join the growing Premier History community.